Presidential Office Correspondent Eoh Jin-joo brought us the latest on South Korea-Japan relations. After Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and numerous lawmakers paid tribute to the war dead at the Yasukuni Shrine, President Park Geun-hye criticized such actions and said the Japanese government needs to focus on correcting perception of its history. President Park is also expected to cancel her Japan trip scheduled for next month.
Arirang News.
Korea's average retirement age is a relatively young 57.
The National Assembly recently passed a bill that legally sets the retirement age to 60. With this new law, the implied retirement age of 57 has increased 3 more years. Reporter Lee Ji-yoon shared that this law will come into effect starting 2016 and also presented the pros and cons of the recent change, such as lifting some financial concerns of long retirement and fewer jobs for the younger generation.
Next week. Lee Ji-yoon, Arirang News.
Compared to the year before, both Amore Pacific and Able C&C saw their sales rise.
Despite the harsh economic times, Korean cosmetic sales are on the rise. Reporter Connie Lee visited domestic cosmetics shops to find out why foreigners like these products so much and what Korea's 3 main cosmetics companies are doing to raise their sales in other countries.
Connie Lee, Arirang News.
Well, it looks like he is here to stay, former independent presidential.
The first by-election since President Park Geun-hye took office was held on Wednesday, April 24th, and reporter Kim Han-ul delivered the results and responses from the ruling and opposition parties in the early hours on Thursday. Out of the 3 constituencies where by-elections took place, the ruling Saenuri Party won 2, while 1 was seized by independent candidate An Chol-soo. With no victories from the main opposition Democratic United Party, the DUP leaders said it will undergo internal restructuring to regain the public's trust.
김한울, Arirang News.
왜 시작 안 하시지?
National Assembly correspondent Kim Yeon-ji spent the whole day driving around town to cover one of the week's hottest stories in Korea, the National Assembly by-elections.
배달도 한답니다. 아랑 저의 능력도 바치겠습니다. 모든 것을 다 바치겠습니다. 그리고 맞습니다. 기호번 안철수 후보입니다. 안녕하세요. 안철수입니다. 24일 수요일은 투표일입니다. 오전 6시.
On Monday, it was especially challenging because I had to cover the 2 leading candidates in the No-1C district. And so I need to kind of follow one candidate for half a day and then follow the other candidate. And, when you go out there, it doesn't really go as you planned. So although you know that you are supposed to be at another place by this time, the thing with the other candidate doesn't really end on time. So you need to be making phone calls all the time, constantly, and it's very hectic. You need to be calling the monitoring room of each political camp and just get the heads up each minute. And so, it's very tiring.
4시 반에 노원역 10번 출구요. 예. 뭐 스피치 같은 건 하시나요? 네네네, 알겠습니다. 네, 감사합니다. 네.
Monday was a busy day with last-minute campaigning.
선배, 여기 오시면은 바로 차 타고 이동하시면서 뭐 이렇게 연설하시고 막 그런데요. 그러니까 오시면은 그거 잡고 바로 이동해서 우리도 따라 붙어야 할 것 같은데?
Yeon-ji's priority was to interview the candidates at their campaign sites to capture the intense and lively atmosphere.
대기하고 있다가 바로 멘트 해주신대.
상계동 주민 여러분 사랑합니다. 허준영 가족 인사드리겠습니다.
Just as the candidate started his speech, things got harder for Yeon-ji.
여러분 사랑합니다. 4월 24일 여러분의 선택에 의해서 이 아름다운 가족은 바로 국회에서 박근혜 정부와 함께 힘을 합쳐서 기업인은 서울동의
재호 선배. 전화. 재호 선배. 선배, 저희 이동.
손을 흔들며 인사를 드리고 있습니다. 우리 정부
따라붙어.
네, 서비스 만점이라고. 네, 감사합니다. 제 옆에는 허준영과
공약이라든지 좀 디테일한 거, 이제 수요일이 투표일인데
살아가는 그 모습이 허준영 후보의 삶과 궤적을 같이 할 수 있는 것입니다.
The ruling party's Heo Jun-young. So this time he kind of used campaign vehicles to go around and kind of canvass the entire area, entire region of Nowon. And whenever there is a car in news, it's very tough to, kind of get the footage for. So you need to kind of follow them using your own car. But at the same time, when they make a stop, you need to get out of your car as soon as possible and then get the footage of the candidate, from various angles. So that was quite challenging as well.
아, 오고 계시다고요? 어디? 보여요?
There's a reason why Yeon-ji came here for her story.
와!
This district is one of the most fierce battlegrounds for this year's by-elections.
저거? 아, 저기 안 타신 것 같은데? 그러세요? 지금 그럼 파리바게트에 계세요? 아, 그러셨구나. 그럼 여긴 안 오시는 거예요?
Yeon-ji and the camera crew are searching high and low for this election's buzz-making candidate, An Chol-soo.
뒤에! 뒤에! 여기 계시는구나. 안녕하세요. 아리랑 TV 김현지 기자입니다. 안녕하세요. 네, 고생 많으시죠? 예.
Yes, at one point I was just running to and fro, didn't know where to go really. But one of our crew members kind of spotted this one coffee shop that independent candidate An Chol-soo was kind of visiting at that time. So thankfully we found him and kind of could begin begin taping his campaigning activities. So I was very glad. But yes, no doubt, whenever that happens, I get frustrated, I get jittery, I get worried, because I should be able to tell my photographer and the driver, okay, this is where we're going and this is what's going to happen. This is the kind of footage that we need.
Yeon-ji was ready for the by-elections as she already covered the last general and presidential elections.
그러니까 오늘 그러면은 앞으로 가실 곳이 빈민가.
그렇죠. 이제 노원구에서는 제일 재개발 또는 무허가 타운 관련된 이런 지역을 그냥 하루 종일 그냥
이렇게 가장 좀 어려운 지역을 다니면서 좀 그 문제를 진단하시는 시간을 갖는다고 하셨는데 어떤 식으로 진행이 되는 거예요? 그분들의 이야기를
현실적으로 같이 딱 모여서 막 얘기를 진행하고 이건 어려울 거고요.
네.
근데 이렇게 다녀보면 어떤 분들이 와서 악수하자고 하고 사진 찍자고도 하지만
The trick up her sleeves for these stories is to closely follow the campaign officers.
영택도 하시는 분? 네, 잘 부탁드립니다.
잘생기셨네, 저기보다.
수고하세요.
Campaign officers who follow the candidate 24/7 are the best sources. Yeon-ji tries to find the right time to approach them.
다 하세요.
소통 행보하신 게 언제부터 하셨다고 그랬죠? 그러니까 노원
입국한 다음 날 첫 일정부터 다 이렇게
아, 그러셨어요?
예, 오늘도 하고 뭐 마지막 날까지도 모든 일정에 보면은 그 날의 상가 방문은 항상 있어요. 1시간 뭐 2시간씩 아니면은
The aides to each candidate, they are excellent sources. They tell me really important information about their candidate and what the candidate has been doing so far, and they tend to be, conveying good information about their candidates as well. So, yeah, I would like to make sure that I talk to as many insiders as possible like that, and I think this time around it worked quite well.
How to highlight different campaign styles in her story is another thing Yeon-ji needs to worry about.
노령연금도 인상하도록 제가 앞장서겠습니다.
힘 있는 당 새누리당 박근혜 정부
Yeon-ji follows candidate Eoh Jin-joo as he decided to go with the vehicle electioneering method.
여러분들이 이렇게 허준영 후보는 평생 공직에 있으면서 가장 성공적으로
아리랑 TV에서 나왔는데 그 허준영 후보를 왜 지지하시는지 한 말씀만 간단하게라도 다른 후보자들도 저희가 다 했거든요. 그래서 한 말씀 해주시면 그 어떻게 알게 되셨고 이분의 어떤 점이 좋아서 이렇게 열렬하게 지지를 해주시는 거죠?
저희들은 전희경들을 돌봐주는 전희경 어머니 회거든요. 사람을 우선으로 아시고 우리가 최고시고 당신이 하고자 하는 일에 이거는 옳은 일이다 하면은 옳은 길을 끝까지 가시는 분이세요.
After several campaign stops, this time Yeon-ji's at candidate An Chol-soo's campaign site. Candidate An prefers the one-on-one eye contact campaigning tactic when he meets and greets.
저렇게 후보가 이렇게 하시는 모습 보니까 어떠세요?
아, 대단히 훌륭하신 분이라서 뭐 전부가 좋아 보여요, 나는.
아, 그래요?
예.
다른 후보들하고 좀 유세하는 운동 방식이라든지
네,
좀 많이
그렇죠.
다르죠?
그렇습니다. 새 정치로 바뀌어야 돼요, 정말로.
지지자신가 봐요. 어머니 그 말씀 좀 한마디 해주시면 안 될까요? 저희 인터뷰, 저희 아리랑 TV에서 나왔거든요.
아, 그렇습니다.
네. 한마디만 부탁드릴게요.
예, 이거요. 언론을 통해서 너무나 잘 알려진 그대로 정치가 바뀌어야 된다. 이거는 누구나 다 하는데 이 정치인들 감언은 전부 그냥 변해버려. 새 정치로 정말로 바뀌어야 돼. 지금 하고 있는 거는 이건.
아, 예. 정말 감사합니다. 예.
Yes, so we always worry about the amount of footage that we get for each candidate and the type of footage that we get from each candidate because we want to make sure it's balanced. But when we were out there on Monday, it didn't really work that way because the two candidates ended up employing two very different campaigning styles, and we found that on the scene. So the type of the footage that we get, we couldn't really do anything about that, but we at least wanted to make sure we have the footage for each candidate. It's the same amount, and we get an interview from each candidate, not having two for one candidate and one for the other candidate, but make sure it's the same number of interviews that you get from each candidate.
We are now joined by our political correspondent, Kim Yeon-ji, in the studio. Yeon-ji, welcome.
Good evening, guys.
Wednesday's by-election will either help consolidate the ruling Conservative Party's rule
or put new liberal forces into
After
office.
covering the field, Yeon-ji gave a balanced and objective overview of the last-minute campaigns and pledges.
Candidates and for the no one see.
And finally, on April 24th, it was time for the citizens to cast their votes for this year's by-elections.
About 30% of eligible voters have easily surpassed the 40% mark.
Hello, Yeon-ji. What's going on over there?
Hey,
guys, I'm standing at Shinsangae Elementary School in Seoul's No-1C district.
And we are just getting a fresh influx of people coming to the polling station to cast their vote after the day's work.
What's the early readout of the voter turnout?
Hey, Jie.
Yunji was there throughout the whole process of this year's by-election.
District. Yes, as you said, the mostly hotly contested race is being held here. Well, the ballot boxes are being closed it's an opportunity to feel live again, but it doesn't mean that it's all happy and pleasant. But still, you feel like you are alive and you are doing something important, so that's what elections are to me.
Hello, nice to meet you. Hello.
We're going to go to the microphone first, and then on to the live studios. I heard that the scale is quite big, so were you impressed by their, the performance and the singing?
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good quality.
Oh, this is third floor. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, we're going to go to the floor. I'm going to test them. Sorry.
No problem.
It's not usual for a conductor in your age to be working on such masterpieces like that.
Well,
it's great.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I must say I feel fortunate to have had a good work experience after having worked in Finland, but then I went to Germany for 4 years and I was in a theater there, and it was very tough. After those 4 years, I felt that I could go and try to work as freelance and to go into the big houses. So it's important also for a conductor to be able to find the time, not to find the time, to choose, not to start to go too quickly, too soon with the big, busy, big houses. You need a lot of experience to work with it, because it's tough, it's difficult.
I can see some of the aspiring, when we're doing the interview, I'm sure they will be taking notes down as to what to do.
Okay.
But I think it's time for us to move on to the live studio. This is Hyung-kyung. She will be interviewing.
Nice to meet you.
Very honored to meet you. Again, feel free to just elaborate on.
Okay.
Good. Personally, I'm not. I guess I enjoy opera, but I don't think I'm enjoying it properly.
No?
No, it's difficult. I think it's difficult to understand. I'm at the lower level of the public audience.
So you can give us plenty of tips as to how to
my
enjoy it.
standard is quite low, so I think.
The live show is always kind of last-minute changes.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Korea Today. I'm Kim In-jung alongside Young Kim.
The results are in. Wednesday's by-election brought many people to the polls.
And the election vote is widely.
This year marks the 200th anniversary of the birth of the famous Italian
Let it come in.
Just absorb it.
Exactly.
I hope you enjoy the show and best of luck with
Thank
the
you.
opera tonight.
Thanks.
And it was a pleasure.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, you too.
Is there any concerns or anything that were
Are
there?
they the same questions?
Same questions. The only one that has sort of maybe changed is the first one, actually. And hopefully I'll have a chance to speak with him just briefly before we tape, and I can talk to him about that as well.
Sure.
Okay, great. Discussed here, when you look at Korea's role as Vuiche. Oh my goodness. Vuiche. View. Like view? Like Vuiche.
More like woo.
Vuche. Oh my goodness. That's a handful right there. Vuche. Trasvuche. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate it.
So you made a tremendous job.
Yes, we did, yes. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to give a brief introduction to this camera here. I'll pause this.
I am going to look at the camera.
No, you can just look at me. Don't worry about the camera.
Korea and Russia are currently celebrating their 23rd year of bilateral ties.
It will play a very important role in the future because she knows, even in small details, she knows our relationship and our strategic partnership. Our relationship and our...
Did we miss anything that you might want to talk about? We can always tape it and put it in there.
Maybe I will get something personal. When you touched upon the first question, about Eurasia, about Asia and Europe.
Sure.
Okay, stand by. Yep.
Now this may sound like a basic geography question, but is Russia considered to be an Asian country or a European country?
It's a very curious question. I will start with my personal history of my family.
This is going to air on Friday night.
This Friday. This
Thank you once again.
So once again, thank you very much for your great job and the team.
Yeah, it's give them all the credit.
You
can give them
very
all
professional team.
Hopefully we can talk to you again, maybe in September.
Why not?
Yeah.
The results
When the
about
summit
the
happens.
results of
Sure.
G20.
Yeah, that'd be great.